Good morning. Last week we met Joe and his father. We met the judge. We won't be dealing with the judge today. We met, although I didn't name them, Jeffrey and Jeremy. Jeffrey and Jeremy. They were the twins in the ghetto. Could have been the reason why one of them went wrong, because Jeffrey and Jeremy, decent names for the people in the ghetto? I don't know. And today we're going to meet Jane, just for a bit of a change. Jane is going to do something wrong, and she's going to do something wrong for very similar reasons to Joe, that she lacks something. I'm tempted to say mother, but I think if I start mixing mothers and fathers and all that, I think that'll get unnecessarily confusing, because if I've planned this video correctly, it's going to be confusing enough anyway. So, because Jane's father didn't tell her something, she's going to make a mistake. In a way, the example will be just the same as Joe made a mistake because Joe's father didn't tell him anything. And for Jeremy and Jeffrey, it's Jeremy that became the drug dealer and Jeffrey became the doctor. If I can remember which way around it is. The first thing to note is something that's quite interesting and in its own way very powerful. That a lack of something can cause something bad to happen. Can I say bad, Alan? Should I say something that it might have been better that had not happened, but for short we're going to call it bad. So, repeat. A lack of something, somewhere, can cause something to happen. In this case, something bad to happen. The lack of something can cause something bad to happen. Just as, obviously, the positive appearance of something can cause something bad to happen. Jane's father, let's not rape her, telling her she's a slut in an argument one time. That was a positive thing, as in he said it. It did appear, can rattle around in Jane's brain, and along obviously with many other things, be the cause of Jane doing something either right or wrong, good or bad, however we label them, in the future. And it's quite, we can strain ourselves and readily understand that the positive appearance of something, Jane's father calling her a slut, can stay with Jane and affect her later in life. But I am asserting here that an example would be, it doesn't really work very well if I say that Jane's father didn't tell her that he was proud of her. But that might work as well. Jane's father just not telling her about the facts of life, for example, that's a more solid one. Jane's father not telling her about the facts of life lead Jane in the future to do something that it would turn out that it would probably be better if she hadn't have done. In other words, a bad thing, because it's easier to say. Because Jane's father didn't tell her the facts of life, Jane is going to do something silly. And in a way we can more easily imagine and more easily trace the positive appearance of things. The day he called her a slut, rather than all the days he never told her the facts of life. But, and this is hard to go along with, as in get a mental grip on, when it comes to Jane's actions, positive appearance of things, Jane's father calling her a slut, for an example, is traceable and easy to understand, but it's not often as easy to understand a lack of something. But lacks of things can, and perhaps later in this week or further on, I will probably try and show that lacks will cause as well. So what we have here is a lack of something is a cause for something, and a positive appearance of something is a cause for something. So this is the first part of this video, that a lack of something causes something. An appearance of something causes something. We can think of all the examples that we want, but I think that should be readily understandable. We won't go into the, it'd be slightly confusing to go into the Geoffrey and Jeremy, where Jeremy was either got some information or lacked some input, where Geoffrey was vice versa or something. But we've got the idea just from Joe and Jane that a lack can cause something, and because something happened, which I'm calling an appearance, as in it appeared, an appearance can cause something. Right, that's the end of that. And hopefully there's nothing controversial there. Okay, I'll put in a, under that line we've got another thing, but it's a short thing, because I think you can go along with the understanding of what I've said so far. My computer went blue screen, where are we, Monday, so it's Sunday, yesterday I think, wasn't it? It went blue screen first thing as I turned it on, back from hibernating in the morning, and that would have been because in the program there was something put in that made it go wrong, or something was not put in the program that would have stopped it going wrong. And it's basically where you might have been happy before just talking about people. I talk about computers, obviously analogizing the two, and you probably aren't as happy. But it's the same thing. My computer going blue screen was probably either a lack of something or the appearance of something. We can probably on this occasion think it more probable, although it probably wasn't, but we can imagine that it was more probable that it was a lack of something that caused it to go blue screen. In other words, somewhere in Seattle, are they? Windows? I think they are. Yes, I think they are. Somewhere in Seattle, the computer programmers of Windows didn't put something in that would have stopped my computer going blue screen. Okay, that kind of goes with up there, but it's part of part one. But that last thing I said kind of links us on to part two, where the computer programmers in Seattle last year would have been better if they'd included something in the program which would have stopped my computer going blue screen yesterday. I don't know what the end of that sentence is, but last year the computer programmers in Seattle didn't put something in Windows 10 which would have made my computer not crash yesterday. They could have done that, but they didn't. But what I'm saying is something happened last year in Seattle that affected me here yesterday. And it's just the same, just with a slightly extended, I'm having quite an extended period for Joe and Joe's father. Joe's father didn't tell Joe something, Jane's father didn't tell Jane something. And of course, it could be that in Seattle last year they put something into the programming that made my computer crash yesterday. And we could say that Joe's father told Joe something that made Joe do the bad thing, and Jane's father told Jane something that made her do the bad or silly thing. So the thing that's the intermediary between the causer, which could be Joe's father, Jane's father, or the Windows programmer, could be positive or negative when it affects Joe, Jane, or my computer / me. So that's kind of a recap of number one. Where we are here now is stressing that the cause point of things is in the past. It's Joe's father, it's Jane's father, it's the circumstances of the lives of Jeremy and Jeffrey, and it's the Windows programmers in Seattle for my computer yesterday and today and forevermore. The thing to note here is a wordy thing, which some people get confused on, but not many, I don't think, because it's not that difficult to understand. That effects become causes that then become effects which become causes. As in, the Windows programmer not doing something was probably the effect of something. As in, his line manager told him he had to finish this part of the program by the end of the day. So he forgot to put in that little piece that would have stopped my computer going blue screen yesterday. It was caused by his line manager. He was the effect. His not doing it was an effect. But the effect, him not putting it in, became then flops around and becomes a cause of my computer crashing yesterday. What we had in our opening example was Joe's grandfather didn't tell Joe's father something. Cause becomes an effect, which becomes a cause, which in turn caused Joe's father not to tell Joe something, and so causes become effects, those effects become causes, and those causes become effects, and those effects become causes. The actual thing, the happening or non-happening, doesn't change, it's just the label we put on it changes. Sometimes we label it when it's in one part of the thing that we're looking at, it's a cause, and sometimes if we look at it from a slightly different time point of view or from a slightly different angle, it's an effect, and it's purely a labeling thing. Causes and effects can easily be, always are in fact, the same thing. The same thing is still the same thing, we just put a different label on it. I feel that that wasn't totally clear. I'll go with the computer programmer one again. The computer programmer, his not putting in something was the effect of his line manager telling him he had to finish the work by the Friday or whatever I said. That was then an effect. That exactly same thing, that non-action, the not putting something in, which was the effect of his line manager, is the cause of my computer going blue screen yesterday. Here we label it an effect of the line manager, and here we call it the cause of my computer going blue screen. It's exactly the same thing, we just change the label depending which way we look at it. Line manager, it's an effect. My computer, it's a cause. I think I'll leave it there. Do I need to repeat the first thing? Probably. appearances of things or non-appearances of things can be causes of other things. And note the second thing, that the same happening is labelled as an effect from one point of view and a cause from another point of view, but that either appearance of something or non-appearance of something is just the same. I think that was quite followable, wasn't it? Anybody struggling, have a go in comments and I shall help you, except you'll be too proud to do that. So you'll just sit there in ignorance and wait for me hopefully to explain it more, or just hope that I go away. But I would think if you got to the end of this video, inevitably an awful lot of that will have gone in. So I thank you for watching. Bye.